I stopped correcting people when they used the wrong name for me. It made things easier. I work in a small office that rents out shared desks to freelancers. It's the kind of place where everyone pretends not to notice each other, but still keeps track of who comes and goes. The lighting is always a little too white, the coffee always slightly burnt, and the air smells faintly of plastic and citrus cleaner. My desk is near the window, not because I asked for it, just because no one else wanted it. The window doesn't open. It looks out over another building's wall, beige and blank, close enough that you can see where the paint has bubbled. People come and go, designers, translators, people who say they consult. Most stay for a few weeks. A few stay longer. Daniel stayed longer. He sat 2 desks away from me, always the same posture, slightly hunched, elbows tucked in, like he was trying to occupy less space than he actually did. He wore the same type of shirt every day, light blue, soft fabric, no visible branding. The first time he spoke to me, he used my name. "Morning, Alex." I didn't correct him. My name isn't Alex. It's not even close. But he said it casually, like he had known me for years. I nodded anyway. "Morning." It felt easier than explaining. At first, nothing about him stood out. He typed quietly, took calls in a low voice, drank tea instead of coffee. When he left his desk, he pushed his chair in perfectly, aligning it with the edge of the table. But there were small things. He never asked anyone else's name. Not once. And yet, after a few days, he addressed people as if he knew them. "Can you pass that charger, Elena?" "Mark, do you know if the meeting room is free?" Most people didn't question it. They just responded. Occasionally, someone would pause for a second, just long enough to notice something felt slightly off, but then continue as if nothing had happened. Names are strange like that. If someone says yours with enough certainty, you tend to accept it. One afternoon, I noticed something else. He had 2 phones, one on the desk, one in his bag, partially visible when he reached inside. They were identical models, same color, same case. When one lit up, he'd glance at it, then sometimes check the other, as if confirming something. I watched this happen 3 times before I realized I was watching it. Later that day, he stood up, picked up his bag, and left without saying anything. He forgot his second phone. It sat there on the edge of his desk, screen dark. No one touched it. There was a silence around it. Not literal silence, but a kind of behavioral gap. People looked at it, then looked away, like it didn't belong to any of us. I could have called out to him. He was probably still in the hallway. I didn't. It stayed there for about 20 minutes. Then it buzzed. Just once. No one reacted. I waited for a few seconds, then leaned slightly toward it. Not enough to be obvious, just enough to see the screen. A notification. A message preview. It said, "Don't correct him." There was no name attached, just a number. I sat back. No one else seemed to have seen it. After a moment, the screen went dark again. When Daniel returned, he picked up the phone without hesitation, as if he knew exactly where it was. He didn't check the message in front of anyone. He just slipped it into his bag. Then he sat down and looked at me. "Alex," he said, "did anyone move my phone?" "No," I said. He nodded, satisfied. The next day, he called me a different name. "Morning, Daniel." He said it while looking directly at me. I didn't react immediately. I thought he was greeting himself, maybe making a joke, but he kept looking. "Morning," I said. I didn't correct him. It happened again the following day. "Hey, Mark, could you hand me that pen?" He was talking to me. I handed him the pen. At some point, I realized that he wasn't mixing things up randomly. There was a pattern.
He would use a name once, maybe twice, then switch. But he never repeated the same mistake for the same person. It was always slightly different, always plausible enough that no one felt the need to challenge it. And the strange part was, people adapted. Not consciously, just quietly. Elena stopped reacting when he called her Sarah. Then, after a few days, someone else called her Sarah, and she didn't correct them either. Names started drifting, not all at once, not dramatically, just small shifts. Mark became Dan for a week, then Leo. No one mentioned it. I began to wonder what people were calling me when I wasn't there. I tried something. One morning before Daniel arrived, I introduced myself to someone new. "Hi, I'm Alex." The word felt strange in my mouth, but I said it clearly. She smiled. "Nice to meet you, Alex." When Daniel came in, he greeted her. "Morning, Nina." She nodded. "Morning." No hesitation. That afternoon, I checked the shared office directory. It was a simple spreadsheet, names and desk numbers. My name was listed as Alex. I don't remember changing it. I don't remember it being changed, but there it was. Desk 14, Alex. I started paying closer attention to the phones, both of Daniel's phones. He didn't use them like most people do. There was no scrolling, no idle checking. He would unlock one, look at something briefly, then lock it again. Sometimes he would do this several times in a row, alternating between the two devices. Once, when he stepped away, I saw the screen of the second phone light up again. Another message. This time I was closer. It said, "Too fast." Again, no contact name. I didn't touch the phone. That evening, as people were leaving, Daniel spoke to me again. "Do you ever feel like people forget you when you're not here?" He asked it not casually, not conversationally. It was precise. "I don't think so," I said. He tilted his head slightly. "I used to think that too." He picked up his bag and left. "See you tomorrow, Alex." The next day, no one greeted me. Not in a rude way, just not at all. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, logged in. My username was different. It was still my account, same files, same layout, but the name displayed in the corner wasn't mine. It wasn't even Alex. It was something else, something I didn't recognize at all. I went to the kitchen area. Two people were talking quietly. I stood there for a moment, waiting for a pause. Neither of them acknowledged me. I said, "Excuse me." They both turned, slightly startled, like they hadn't noticed I was there. "Yes?" one of them said. "Do you know where Daniel is?" They exchanged a look. "Who?" the other said. When I returned to my desk, Daniel was sitting there, in my chair, using my laptop. He didn't look surprised to see me. "You're early," he said. I didn't say anything. I just stood there. He continued typing for a few seconds, then stopped and looked up. "You should sit down," he said, gesturing to the empty desk next to him. It wasn't mine. It never had been mine. But I sat down anyway. We worked like that for a while, or at least, he worked. I watched. No one questioned it. People came by, spoke to him, used the name that used to be mine, but not anymore. It belonged to him now, completely, naturally, as if it always had. At some point, I realized something simple. No one had ever called him Daniel. Not once. And I had never asked his name. I just gave him one.